Okay, here's the brake cleaning secret. A couple guys did spoiler alerts on the last video, but heat. Yeah, you can put them in an oven and cook them for a while. Or in my case, I just take a propane torch and a clean rag. You heat them up and you'll see the shoes get nice and shiny as the heat just draws all that oil out to the surface. Prior to doing that though, I did do a gross decontamination with some brake clean, and that gets about probably 85%. I just burned my hand right there. That's awesome. That probably gets about 85% of the oils and greases out of the shoe, and it certainly cleans up all the brake hardware. Look how pretty it is right now. The new seal is installed. Excuse me. And you just kind of fan it across like that. You don't want to keep the heat too much in one area because you don't want to cook the lamination or the glue and somehow get that shoe to pop off the... Look at it. I was having propane issues. It was pretty cold that day. For some reason, my torch was giving me grief. But as I was saying, you don't want to leave the heat there too long into one spot because you don't want to pop that band of fiber there off the brake shoe. See how it got nice and shiny? It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And then there's a groove on that backing plate, and there's a piece of felt in there that's probably a 1/4 inch wide, maybe a 1/2 inch deep. That rubs up against the rim on the inside of the drum, and I guess that keeps dust and stuff out. Look, everything cleaned up so pretty on the inside. A little brake clean, and the drum is ready to go. There's no ridge on that drum. It looks like it's nice and smooth across. It's not discolored, so it hasn't been heated up to any extent to where I'm worried about it. And we're just going to put it back together and make it go. Now, I don't know the torque spec. I'll be honest with you. I don't know the torque spec on that axle nut. We're just putting it on with a pair of slip joint pliers there. Just snug. I kind of went with the theory of any front bearing where you don't want to over tighten it and put too much pressure on the bearing. So we went just nice and snug, and I'm going to look up the torque spec before I put the clip. There's a spring clip that sticks through that axle nut that locks it into the axle itself. And I don't have those because one was missing, one was broken. And right here I'm just doing a preliminary brake adjustment. I just kind of got it close. We're going to have fun here. I want you to imagine two monkeys trying to hump a football, and yeah, go with that image. So as I was saying, I did a preliminary adjustment on the brakes. I wanted to get the wheels installed and actually get it driving, and then I will fine-tune the little star adjusting device there inside the brake shoes and get them to stop evenly. And it's pretty cool. It should be pretty close right now. You'll see at the end of the video how it stops that wheel on a dime. Granted, there's no weight and momentum of the tractor, but we'll see. It stops it with just pushing it down with your hand. And if you're not familiar, somebody mentioned on the last one if the wheel cylinder was leaking, but these are not hydraulic brakes. These are straight mechanical leverage action brakes. That brake pedal activates an arm that sticks into the back of the back plate of that brake, and then there's a little clamshell that brake arm cams out, and it spreads the brake shoes to cause braking action. So there's no hydraulics involved. There's very little to go wrong with it, and that's kind of cool. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun getting the lugs lining up here. For some reason, it's just not really playing fair, but that's okay. It is what it is, and we kind of lift things up with the 2x4 and some plywood. We'll get it. We'll get her going. So the way, as I mentioned before, the way this thing sits, the rear right tire went on, and that's good to go. The rear left brake drum and spindle hub we left off because I'm waiting to pound out the broken lug bolt. It should be in the mail according to the Little Brown Truck website. It should be here at my front doorstep tomorrow, January 19th, so I'm pretty excited about that. That should be cool. And then this week I can get the other wheel put on, top off the fluid in the rear end. I've got 10 gallons of hydraulic fluid, which will handle the loader. I'm going to flush the loader and top off the transmission. Watch this, just by hand. Yay, everybody's so happy. We're going to go forward, and then just pushing down by hand lightly, it stops that big heavy wheel, which is a pretty good amount of dead weight there. So I'm pretty happy. Catch you guys on the flip side. Gotta run. See ya.